carry an entire industry on your back. It's friggin' heavy after all, and no one can make that claim quite like the man in red himself, Shigeru Miyamoto. He created Super Mario after all. Of course I mean Mario. The man has saved Princess Peach more times than I've woken up in the morning and carried the industry into the gaming days we enjoy right now. It's no wonder he's so short, carrying a heavy burden on his small shoulders. What's not short, however, is the legacy that was Mario's maiden 3D voyage, Super Mario 64. It goes without saying, but a lot rides on a franchise's first 3D entry, and Mario was far and away the one with the most riding on him. While the industry was making primitive and clunky 3D games, could Nintendo swoop in and bring us the glorious, revolutionary 3D platformer? Well, this one is obvious. Yes. Does it hold up, however? Things do like to get old. Let's see if old low-poly Mario has it in him to save his low-poly princess. Let's hope. Like most Mario games, there really isn't a story here. Bowser captured Princess Peach in her own castle, and now Mario has to save her. So instead of bothering with anything more than that, let's just go right to the gameplay. This is the big one, you know? The big 3-dimensional debut of our star plumber. Unlike his prior platforming adventures, which were going from A to B while avoiding the enemies, Super Mario 64 creates a whole new style of game, something we tend to call collectathons today. Instead of having many stages separated into worlds and in a boss, you are presented with a decent number of worlds that are full 3D playgrounds to explore. As such, your goal is no longer just to get to the end of the stage, as there really is no end, outside a handful of boss stages that is. Instead, your goal is to complete the mission each stage gives you. You roam about the castle as your hub and find paintings you can jump into, which are the stages, making this one of the more inventive level selects ever. As you enter a stage, you'll select a goal to complete, its name giving you a hint on how to complete it. Whenever you complete a goal, you are awarded a power star and are taken back to the hub. To complete said goal, you'll be running, jumping, and kicking your way around the large stages, finding whatever needs doing while avoiding obstacles, doing some platforming, and killing enemies. Each stage has their own goals and their own obstacles, and each stage is varied with very few recurring ideas. Platforming is tight, though Mario still has his trademark momentum, requiring you to be a bit more careful and precise with his landing, as one wrong jump can send you spiraling off into the depths. Getting hit by enemies will drain your health, which you can replenish by collecting yellow coins. Collect 100 and you'll gain another power star, and this can be done once on each stage, causing you to keep an eye out for them. The gameplay loop is incredibly addicting, and the stages get more and more challenging as you go, requiring you to master how Mario plays, even going so far as getting you acquainted with his now signature wall jump. Now, the power stars you acquire throughout the stages are used to open more doors in the castle, which will be hiding not only progression deeper into the castle, but also more stages to complete. There is plenty of content for you here, and the castle even has some secrets to find. Even today, the game remains a blast to play, and is as challenging as ever. I still feel some wonder as I run around Bob-omb Battlefield, jumping on some hideously shaped Goombas. Some things just age really well. A Mario platformer is definitely one of those things. Though it hasn't aged perfectly. Naturally, it is quite old at this point. Gameplay is quite simple overall, and the challenges per stage don't last too long. Sure, things get more difficult as you go, but to a seasoned gamer, your only deaths will more than likely fall to the slippery handling than the actual challenges the game can toss at you. Despite that, it remains fairly solid for a launch Nintendo 64 game. There are a decent amount of stages with plenty to do in them, making the issues a non-issue overall. Okay, just listen. Nintendo 64 hasn't aged the most gracefully when it comes to its visuals, okay? It's not Super Nintendo, it's not 2D sprites that'll age as well as fine art. No, it's ugly 3D polygons and shit. What more do you expect from them? Yeah, this was a generation before they got well-aging visuals down. Things are quite shapely, and even something as simple as a Goomba will make you go, huh, while trying to figure out just what they were going for. Of course, it's not all that bad. Some stages look alright still, but some just look quite barren. Now, some might say it gives the game its own unique look, and I'll give them that. There is no game that looks quite like Super Mario 64, where some of the later games look quite similar. Still, for its time it looked quite groundbreaking, and I think it still gets the job done today. It's no fine wine, but it's definitely fun to look at. It feels like you stepped into a piece of abstract art. On the audio side of things, the music aged extremely well, giving us some fine tunes to bop to as we bop on some enemies' heads. Sadly, more than likely thanks to the Nintendo 64, some stages repeat tracks, but what's on offer here is fantastic and stands the test of time more than the graphics. Performance, as is usual with N64 games, isn't always the greatest, but it's not bad either, being one of the more stable N64 games out there. Overall, this one aged well enough, but that's mostly due to style and the music being so good. With this being Mario's first 3D game and all, there are bound to be some little itty-bitty things that take you out of the experience, and there sure is. The camera. Platforming is near flawless with its triple jumps, long jumps, backward flips, side flips. It's all well and great with only the momentum throwing people off. No, the problem in this game is that goddamn camera. It was the N64, so realistically it wasn't going to have anything like dual analog controls like now, and this wasn't a problem unique to this game. In fact, it's a problem that plagued the entire console. The camera can only move so much, it gets caught on things, and has set places it can look. The reasoning for this in-game is that it's a physical object, as it's a Lakitu, carrying an actual camera around, but it sucks and can hinder your enjoyment of the game. Super Mario 64 was a goddamn revolution that showed everyone what 3D could bring to the industry, and that revolution lives on today. It's hard to argue just how much of an impact this game had on the industry, and I feel it's hard to argue against the fact that it holds up just fine today. Visuals aren't everything, especially now that PlayStation 1 homages are all the rage among horror games, and Super Mario 64 shows that amazing gameplay will stand the test of time. Time has roughed the edges as Mario feels too sensitive at times and levels themselves are basic visually, but it still shines bright today like the power star that'll lead you to the princess. Super Mario 64 earned 7 power stars out of 10 for its performance. It may have been a long time at this point, but time has only given you a few bumps, nothing Mario can't handle. I hope you enjoyed the review. How obvious was it that Mario 64 would still remain good? Or did you have a different opinion? If you enjoyed, why not give a like, subscribe, and leave a comment below? It helps the channel grow and gives me a good reason to keep doing these reviews. Regardless, I would like to know your opinion on the game and the video. Be sure to check back for more retro reviews or even Let's Plays. Until next time.